I still run recreationally.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do a meet.
Yeah. Fair.
You know what I mean?
Running for the mental.
Yes.
That's the best kind of running, though.
Yes.
Isn't it? Like there's no better way to do it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Sometimes
what kind of Ks are you doing?
a week, not that many now.
Yeah. Or like, what's like a relaxed run for you? Like, what do you?
I reckon I can do like in my peak, like when I was like doing states track, my 1500 time was maybe like as a 17-year-old like 4:03.
Oh yeah. That's
So I was fast.
Yeah.
I was fucking good, Louis.
So why'd you give it up?
I'm gonna come on this podcast.
Why did you give it up? Yeah, go your hardest.
I think I just stopped and then I don't know, man. It's just like you're in. Wait, have we started? Is this going?
That's all right.
Because you're a proper influencer now.
I'm like, yeah. Do you feel influenced?
I feel like I saw you were at the fashion event last night, and I thought this guy's living a different life to me.
It's. I'm trying to influence now.
Yeah, I can feel it.
The issue is though, you can see how. Not an issue for me, but you can see how influencers lose authenticity like really fast when the money starts coming in.
Yes.
Because it's like you're holding this drink. And it's, oh no, I'm sponsored by another drink. I can't hold this drink. So you got to cut that out, delete that story, and then next minute it's just all one ad break. But
Are you friends with other influencers?
my influencer circle is growing. Yeah,
Because
I'd
Miss
say
Universe Australia hates me.
I heard.
I've heard of this. Okay.
But I want to know about. Can we? Let's get into
Yes,
it.
yes.
Tell me about Miss Universe Australia. You called her out.
It's not a bad thing. I feel like just during the pandemic, she was making some influencer comments.
Okay.
And I was at home,
Yeah.
like we all were, and then just made a TikTok about it.
What were her comments?
I think she just said like, it was just these people are dumb. They keep doing this, and I was like, look, they probably are dumb, but there's like some other socio-economic factors at play. Let's maybe have like a bit more analysis about this. And she was at home drinking wine in her pent suite. And I messaged her. I said, yo, you're in this next TikTok. Just a heads up. And
Yeah,
she's like,
hope you
that's
don't
cool.
mind.
Hope you don't mind. Just a
All
polite
good.
thing. Hope it's all fine.
Yeah.
Then it hit 700,000 views, this video.
She didn't sign up for
No,
that.
she didn't sign up for that. And she messaged me. She's like, take it down immediately. And I
No
was like,
way.
you know what it's like when you go viral, you're like, I'm not taking this down.
You've worked so hard.
If you
for
were
those
roasting
numbers.
Gabe and the numbers were going high,
Yeah.
you wouldn't take it down.
No way. And he'd understand though, I think. She should understand as an influencer.
I would have hoped so, but I was getting grilled. It was the first night coming out of lockdown. I was about to go on stage at a comedy club. And I was like to my friends, I'm like, Miss Universe Australia is lighting me up. It was like paragraphs. It was paragraphs. It was like a discursive
hard.
essay on why I'm
Not even from the manager. You're getting it straight
from her.
her.
It was from her.
Oh,
yeah. The
God.
blue tick was coming in strong.
Yep.
And it was very much like, that's the most she's written in a long time. You know what I mean? It was about why I was a bad comedian as
Yeah.
well. It wasn't.
Oh,
yeah,
she
it
got
was,
personal.
Yes, personal.
Not
About
what
my
you
work.
want. Not what you want before you go on stage.
Louis, you don't want that.
You don't want that. I feel
don't
like
want
I like to put it into my perspective. So I
Yes.
play footy. Yeah, I won't post before a game of football so that my opposition doesn't have more ammunition to bully me about. You've gone on stage
Yes.
and you've given the audience ammunition.
If I was versing you at footy, it would be just in your ear the entire 4 quarters.
Relentless.
Do you get that? Like 4 quarters. If someone recognizes you on the field, do they come up and go, Louis?
A little bit, yeah, but not for 4 quarters. It's often the mums on the side that are the worst. But that's right. Anyway, not about me. I want to know about you, mate, because we've got a big podcast today.
Yes.
You're my first comedian on the podcast. Ferg, Neil, can you tell us about yourself?
I am a stand-up comedian. Been doing it in Melbourne for 5 years. TikTok influencer.
Influencer.
I mean, I feel like how we first met, I'm not sure, do we have TikTok beef or not? Because remember coming into
I was
this.
going to introduce you as a TikTok hater, to be honest, because I've gotten
Yes.
you've come on the show as a hater, and I want to pick your brains.
I've come on here
You're
as
Miss Universe to me, by the way.
I reckon on one of your videos, I commented 1v1 on a running video. And then your producer, Keelan, who's a friend of mine who I've known for a long time because he's just been like a fucking cretin on the comedy community. He won't get off.
he
He's
is.
like
He's
those little things on a
cockroach.
boat that just won't get the fuck off the community. He's like that. I'm like, can we flick this motherfucker
Give
off?
it up, bro.
What he did last week, he put my podcast on his YouTube live stream and said, hey, donate money and I'll take off Ferg's podcast. And people donated money to get my podcast off the screen. You know what that does to a man's self-esteem?
That hurts.
He had 5 of my podcasts playing at once and people are donating money in real time
joking.
to get it off the screen. So I've got a lot of animosity coming into this show.
You've come in with anger.
More towards your producer.
Oh,
And I
that's-
don't
yeah.
really have any anger to you. I just
Yeah.
thought it'd be funny if we had a race, a running race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So wait, you commented 1v1.
Yes.
What did I say?
I don't know, but you definitely didn't reply, I think. But maybe I was just in your frontal lobe for a while.
Maybe you were. I do recall
Have I
seeing
ever
that.
said anything bad to you boys or not? I'm trying to remember because you got to, at this stage of my life, I've got a running beef with Spanion,
Oh, really?
Clementine Ford, Miss Universe Australia.
Clementine, who's that?
She's a prolific feminist and social commentator.
Okay.
She's a Patreon member now. We sorted it out.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
We turned it around.
Well, we'll use this podcast to sort out our beef. And I'd
Yes.
say, yeah, we do have beef.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your beef with me?
You said 1v1. And my issue with that, mate, is you weigh 30 kilos, ringing wet. And you're 7 foot tall, which is...
I'm tall,
You
I'm
don't
tall.
realise how tall you are.
People say
until
that.
we-
Have I
yeah.
got small man energy or something?
No, maybe. I think it's just like
Everyone
online.
says that. They meet online. I've got small man energy.
Yeah, you do.
From behind my desk.
And I'm never going to beat you in a running race because you
I don't know about that.
And apparently you're now an Olympic runner.
Well, that was before I started smoking before comedy gigs. And, you know,
Does that help?
smoking before comedy gigs, it actually does. Yeah, because you have a little focus.
Yeah.
You know, like I caught ADHD when I was 10 years old.
You caught it.
I caught it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you noticed that? Everyone's catching ADHD. Yeah. Have you seen that? All of our friends have got ADHD. And I caught it when I was like 10 years old, when it wasn't popular, you know? And I feel like since then I've been smoking every now and then. It just gives me a little bit of focus.
Yeah.
I would have got a better NAPLAN score with some Winnie Blues. I feel
Yeah,
like back in the
you
day.
would have. That's a good idea. What makes you want to get on stage doing comedy?
Man, I think that I'm from a big family. And everybody would roast each other, like what you're doing with me now, and what Keelan's been doing with me for the last week before
Yeah.
coming on this podcast. Hence the anger that I'm coming into this show with.
Mate, let it out.
So I've got like a lot of brothers, a sister, and a dad, and they roast perpetually. You know what I mean? And my brother was on meth for a while, so you can't really roast that
Yeah,
hard.
you
You know what I
can't.
mean? Don't throw rocks in a glass house.
No, you can't.
He's off meth now. He's sober.
Oh, fantastic.
And he's running.
Oh, and running.
Have you met those dudes who've
That's-
come off meth and they're running?
They
Imagine
run
that'd
the
be your fan
hardest.
base.
Yeah, they are.
They
They run the hardest. They're my biggest fear because they got anger. The only anger I ever had was
Yeah.
a little breakup. That's when you do quick times. But if they got meth anger,
It's big.
bro, you got.
They're the
you-
ones lapping you at the Collingwood Athletics strike.
Yeah, literally
Yeah.
that, and making videos about it, and messaging me saying, "Let's 1v1."
Were you aware of me before coming into this? Like, did you know who had you seen my TikToks before?
Yeah, I'd seen some of them for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. What were your impressions?
Yeah, funny guy.
Nice.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
Impressions. That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like the TikTok. You just scroll through. But I would have thought you're funny, and I love a good like political commentator kind of
Yes.
politics.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, comedy. So my vibes were good.
Okay, that's good.
But
Come
I
in
want to
strong.
see you on a stage,
Yes.
which we've been talking about.
I love you to come to a comedy club.
Yeah, I'm
and sit in
gonna-
the front row.
gonna
and
do
I'm
it.
gonna make sure I'm filming that shit.
Yeah.
I'm
So
like-
what kind of stuff do you do to like prepare for a show? Like,
Well,
do you have your
yeah.
how long's your show?
At the moment, it's like 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
done.
Do you memorize all of that?
It's all in here, baby. You know, with running, it's a mental game. Same as comedy. You've got to have it clocked up. North.
That's ridiculous.
So I've done it for 5 years. So I've got 50 minutes in my head right now. And you write it out. I've got a big doc. It's like 5,000 words. And I've done like 3 trial shows in just random theaters. So I just put on my Instagram like, hey, let's get 20 people to watch. They come and watch me work new gear. And then even I open for Dave O'Neill on Saturday. I use that to just, do 30 minutes of material. And you just kind of keep building and building and building and building. And then you have an hour that's really strong, So you're trying to get an hour. It's like, this is objectively really funny.
And do you get it to the point where you just like you don't even have to worry about the material before you get up there? It's just once you get going, you're hitting your straps.
It depends what gig, because each week I'm doing I'll do a gig in Fitzroy, right? And then I'll do Comedy Republic, but then I'll be out in Geelong. So it's
Different
all
crowds.
different crowds, dude.
What's you mold on the go? You run on.
You got to change some jokes a little bit, Like if you're performing to the Fred Again crowd in Fitzroy, some of the jokes, they're not really going to come with you. But in Geelong, they don't care. It's looser. Not saying that I know in comedy there's so many comedians the woke culture's coming for us, boys, but
Yeah.
it's not really.
No, you
it's
can
just
mold to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can
just-
actually use it to your advantage.
If you can make a Fitzroy beer garden laugh at a joke that is kind of, on the line, that means it's a really good joke. Because people are people. They'll laugh at that.
What about when they don't laugh? Have you bombed much?
Oh, mate, I bombed horrifically.
Really?
Every comedian's bombed.
What's it look like when you bomb? What's the feelings?
The feelings are, I don't know what the equivalent in your world is. Maybe like a TikTok that gets 10 views. Is that?
Yeah, that shit gets deleted, mate. That's what
Really?
we call deleted.
It's,
Never happened.
Bombing's kind of like you lose footy by 100 points. You're the last person in a marathon. Have you ever had that happen where I've had that happen to me because we talked about this. I used to be a runner and I was all right coming up. But there was a time where I accidentally entered a state 5K race and I got lapped. Peter Bowl.
Oh,
You know Peter Bowl?
Fair enough.
He
Yeah,
was
I know
like
him.
my nemesis, and I've still got a grudge against him now.
Yeah, fair enough.
He lapped me in a
Would
lot
have
of
liked
meets.
it when all the news came out.
Oh,
that
when he
was on
went
gear.
down for
Yeah, for
doping?
yeah.
I heard the Hootie thing was a leak. I was the one who went to went to Asada and said,
I've forgotten.
Peter Bowl, look into it. Look
You
into
literally
it.
leaked. Yeah, that's
He's
good.
doing well now though.
Nah, he's all clear.
But when you're coming that late in a race, you're so far behind that people are clapping. Have you ever done that? That happened to me. My dad didn't make eye contact with me after the meet.
Oh, that's hard.
I was so far back in the race that I got a pity clap as
Okay.
if I was like, something was wrong with me. And it was inspirational
yeah.
that this able-bodied white dude had finished a race.
Maybe they thought you pulled a hammy or something. I've seen those videos. Like people are awesome. 2014. Ferg Neal completes the race.
It's the worst moment of your life, I think.
Yeah.
I wonder that now, like when people finish a fun run, the last person always gets a round of applause. It's condescending.
No, but I want to know, like for the people, like from the comedy perspective,
Yes.
bombing. What's it look like? You tell a joke, minimal laughs.
Yeah, well, I'm at a
come
point.
back.
Yeah, I'm at a point now where I don't bomb horrifically. Like when I first started, it was literally like punchline, bomb, punchline, bomb, and people just watching me go down slowly and painfully. I had a relationship that ended actually because she got an ick after I bombed that hard.
really?
I seriously think it was that looking back where she came to support me, and I bombed so hard. It was like your whole body's drenched with sweat. You're in front of 50 people who don't like you. There's something evolutionary going on in a girl's head where they're like, why am I with him? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went down, but now I don't really bomb because if I'm bombing, I've done it for 5 years now. Like I've probably done over like 1,000 gigs. I can get my way out of it. You
Yeah.
know, like I'm good enough at crowd work and good enough to get out of a situation that it's bombing. You know, like the other night there was a guy who was just heckling every single act. Big acts you see it on the TV. And I just got up on stage and it was kind of like coming into this. I came on stage with an energy where I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to tear this man apart.
can't wait.
And I got an applause break,
What-
you know,
what-
and then went into my gear.
What gives someone the opportunity? Why would someone want to go to a show and like heckle?
I don't know, but people do that.
Why do they do that?
Often drunk.
Yeah.
A very famous TikToker who will go unnamed came to Comedy Republic once and was sitting in the front row. Guy and girl, hot as fuck, hottest couple I've ever seen in my life. They had like bottles of champagne with them. It was really like a let them eat cake scenario where like watching the peasants do jokes.
Yeah.
And they were heckling the whole night. And they got evicted from the venue.
Really?
Yes. They got
Famous
evicted from the venue.
TikTokers?
Famous TikTokers.
Comedy? TikTokers?
More influencer TikTokers.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
That
but they were
scene.
hot as fuck. Yeah,
Yeah.
When I was in the green room and she was so audacious. She came into the green room with comedians. And she came in, she said, you guys are the funny people. And she came in, she was grabbing us like that, squeezing my tits and stuff.
Yeah, that's always.
I got molested by a very famous TikToker.
It happens.
I'll
It's-
come out, yeah.
Yeah, that's huge in this crowd actually.
It's big.
But you got to know when to speak up and when not to speak
Because
up.
you in that crowd, like, do you hang out in like the? I love that I've just brushed over Louis and his Me Too moment.
I was about to open up then. That's right, mate.
Are you in this TikToker crowd? Like, that's what I can't work out. Because when I first saw you boys, like you, Anabolic Gabe, Prime Train, I'm like, I thought you boys were bodybuilders. Like, I'm like, who are these dudes who have come on? They're in impeccable shape.
Yep.
All right, when I'm trying to get, because you get a lot more girls from your videos of your chests popping out than me talking about, you know, interest rates. Somehow I feel like, you know what I mean? Louis will be getting more
I don't
clap
know
from
though. Maybe the wrong
I
girls.
know.
Though. Yeah. No, I'd say yeah. Look, we're increasingly becoming more and more into that crowd.
Okay.
But I don't think we want it. We don't want that smoke.
At Fashion Week last night, did you have like fashion girls coming up to you and being like, "Oh, Louis, you run so fast, like out there with your drone"?
Yeah, with your drone that follows you around. Yeah, I get a little
You're
bit
the
of that.
Wally of running. Like
Yeah.
you're out there and you've got a drone hovering overhead.
Yeah.
Do people
Apparently
look
that's
at the
illegal.
drone or not?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and at me
That's
in
wild.
disgust.
Yeah.
It is wild. But no, yeah, in the sphere of the influence, it is becoming more and more. See, the thing is, I set out to be a running guy or gym or fitness or whatever.
Yes.
But there's so much opportunity to just go out and drink every single night. 'Cause there's always something
Yeah.
on. You'd know that. Like, do you get
Comedy gigs, you have that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 4 weeks sober now.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Is that going to be a long-term thing?
Just for Comedy Fest, I want to see what I can do while being sober. And
you
I'm already better on stage.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Would you be better, though, if you had just 2 beers before you got
If
on?
I'm blackout drunk, I'm the best I'm ever at. But how sustainable is that? You know, like I went on stage and I was like beyond drunk. And I got off stage and my friend was like, that's the best set you've ever done.
Really?
I was following Luke McGregor, huge Australian comedian. And he got up and did his nervous shit. And it was really funny. Sorry, that sounds like a diss. He got up and
Yeah.
killed.
Yeah.
And I got up afterwards off like 10 Jaeger bombs, I reckon just caffeine and alcohol, and I had one of the best sets of my life. And I'm like, I could do this every night, but I would die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's just see what I can do sober.
Okay, and it's going well.
It's gone well. I love it.
So comedy festival, it's a big one. That's grand
Huge.
final week
Yes.
for you. What do
It's
you?
gonna be
How many
fun.
shows do you do?
Doing 23 nights. Trades Hall,
23?
Fergalicious. Okay, don't be so shocked. You're coming at me like I can't do that. You did that. Your face then was.
You have
is a
23
way-
people
way
who
so-
come and watch you.
Mate, you run a marathon.
That's a lot of friends and family.
Louis, I'm taking that as an insult, all right? The first night will be like my 21st. It'll be friends and family, loved ones.
Yeah.
But, also, you get some TikTok love. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that some of my 45,000 TikTok followers turn up. I'm hoping that's the case.
Promotion hasn't started for it.
I mean, it's been good. Yeah. Jumping on this potty, I jumped on another TikToker's potty. Not that I've used TikTok. I've used the man. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You're the G.
Oh yeah.
You're my
of course.
favorite out of the three.
Oh really?
Yeah, out
Thank
of you, Aerobic Gabe, and the paddle pop dude.
Paddle pop.
Prime Drain.
That's
You're
gold.
my favorite.
Thank you, mate.
You're my favorite.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
And I think I speak for the algorithm when I say that we've chosen you.
Oh really?
Yes.
I hate TikTok.
You love TikTok.
I hate it with a passion.
Hasn't it made you or not?
Kind of, yeah. More Instagram.
You're
recently.
big on Instagram now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've popped off. Do you have they must have a little bit of animosity towards
They
you.
hate me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you've transcended them.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're living in the same
Someone
house.
commented the silence is deafening from them.
Well, I've noticed that with Aerobic Gabe's content is that he has it's a little less confident. It's
Yeah,
a little
really.
it's a little less confident. I
Okay.
think you're destroying him. I've had the same thing. One of my friends was, if I have a TikTok that blows up, he doesn't post for a few days. He's a comedian.
It can
you know?
hurt watching others. I've done my dash in the depths, in the trenches, mate. I've had no
Because you
followers.
were the third guy for
I was the
so
third.
long.
Yeah, I was
And
holding the camera.
I was like, come on, Louis, 1v1 me. You need this.
That would've
You know what
helped
I mean?
if I
At the time
1v1
would have
you.
helped, yes. Now it would help me a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like...
well, you're here.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like now you're the one out of that group.
Interesting.
I'll
take
And like there's been so many adjacent guys in that scene. Like I feel like you guys had a third guy for some reason, but he's no longer there. I don't know if that was like a Pete Best scenario where you guys killed him or something.
Yeah, we
but
got rid of him.
Now you're the man.
You're
killing
you're
it.
onto this fitness stuff, aren't you?
Yes.
Why do you follow it?
I think because I used to be a runner, So when I was on Falls Creek, I fell in love with this runner called Jen Lacaz. I don't know if you've ever seen Jen Lacaz. She's a steeplechaser.
Gorgeous.
Oh, you know her?
No.
You must have known her. She did this thing where she was very famous for a long time. And at Falls Creek, as a 16-year-old, I asked her on a date in front of like 10
Man.
people.
So you've always had confidence.
I've had a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I got rejected straight away
Yeah.
out on the trail.
How'd she reject you?
She just said no.
Oh.
She said no.
didn't
And now
even-
she's married to Ryan Gregson, who's a 1,500 meter record holder. So,
Okay.
I can see she chose a better runner.
Maybe we should get him on the podcast, you, me, and Ryan, and talk about what went wrong.
First, let's talk about our times.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about relationships
Yeah,
and what could have
exactly.
been.
Exactly. So you started at Falls Creek. That's where your
Yes.
love came from, and now
Yes.
you've just been consuming fitness content.
Well, for the runners on this podcast, I used to be like a pretty good runner.
Hmm.
I was good. So if you're listening to this, don't let it slip. Because like we would go to Falls Creek, we would do aerobic camps every year with Aerobic Gabe. And then we would come back and just have an amazing amount of red blood cells. And we
Yeah.
would just kill track meets.
Yeah.
So I have a few friends who are like, they're pretty good runners now. Like they're running in world cross country meets
Hmm.
and shit like that. And I'm in bars trying to make people laugh. So, we're in different fitness columns.
Yeah,
You
same
know?
kind of thing though.
Yeah, in a way. You're trying to make
A lot of mental fortitude required for both.
a lot of endorphins.
So you get your red blood cells, then you go to the normal meets, and then you dominate.
Yeah, that's the idea.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
You could just dope. Do a
You
Lance
could just
Armstrong.
dope, do the Peter Bowl, but I feel like ultimately,
Well, we're not getting Peter Bowl on the podcast, that's for sure.
no, he follows me. He'll listen to
Oh,
this.
does he?
Yeah, he'll listen
Oh,
to this.
true,
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
race against each other.
Yeah, he'll listen to this.
So have you always been funny?
Uh,
Have you ever been funny is what I meant to say. When's
know-
the comedy start?
I don't like this heckler. When I was I'm gonna heckle on pod. I came in for a nice chat. We've still got a lot of animosity. Yeah. I feel like when I realized I was funny, I was in Geelong. In Geelong, you kind of have to be funny. I think we both went to a Steiner school in primary school. Is that right?
Did you go to a Steiner school?
From when I was in primary school.
Did
But
you
here's the
message me
thing.
about that?
I don't think so.
Okay, no. Sorry.
That
Yeah,
was someone
cool.
else.
Yeah.
You should reply to them.
Yeah.
But mine was a mistake. My dad didn't know that I was going to a Steiner school. It was a government Steiner school. It was a local school. So I was there and I was coming back with like beeswax and felt. And my dad was like, what's going on? You know, my dad, he's a lovely dad.
Yeah.
But he had his troubles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His troubles are slightly absent.
You'd be confused.
Yeah, he went to the milk bar and he wasn't gone, but he'd come back in 3 days.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was like
yeah,
that.
sure.
So he was very confused that I was in a sinus school and he didn't really realize. And then I moved to Geelong, right? I went from a sinus school to a government school in Geelong.
Ooh.
It was like going into 8 Mile. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it was scary. It was really scary.
Yeah.
And I'm not built. As you said, I'm 30 kgs max.
Yeah, but you
that's
gotta
my
be
F
funny.
Neil weight. Yeah, you got to be funny. If you're 30 kgs in Geelong, when the Ford factories just closed, the meth wars are raging in the streets. You need to be funny.
The Ford factory's closed.
It's gone.
Yeah. So you were funny through there, and then what made you get into comedy?
Got to Melbourne and went to uni and
Studying?
I was bigger at uni. Have you ever noticed that? The uni kids, they're nerdy. When you go from Geelong to
I didn't fit in at uni actually.
where did you go to uni? Is that bad for me to ask?
Latrobe. No.
Did you study art in year 12? Didn't you go to private school?
Yeah.
How did you not go to?
I was-
You got to Latrobe.
Fucking so bad at school.
Well, your parents like, what a waste of money.
Yeah. They said send him back to Steiner. Make him build something with his hands. Now I'm here interviewing you. Honestly, one of the biggest demises I've ever seen.
That's great. What'd you
Yeah.
study at Latrobe?
Agribusiness,
Holy
farming
shit.
business. So
Are you a
still
rural
going.
boy?
Got a farm. Mum and dad have a farm.
Nice.
But not,
That's cool.
Yeah. But not farming. No, so wait, uni you picked it up. This is like a
Yeah.
real Theo Von story. He's my favourite
I love Theo
comic
Von.
ever.
Yeah.
Felt
I
as
met
though-
Theo Von.
No way.
Yeah. When I was in Los Angeles, I met Theo Von.
I want to hear about it.
I mean, it's not that good of a story. I was on exchange in America. Have you heard about this? Where if you want to go on exchange, this is a good tip for listeners if you're in uni. The government will give you $6,000 interest-free loan to just go overseas. So I'm like, I'll take the 6K, Eddie. And I went overseas and then I was just doing gigs in Los Angeles. I just used it as an excuse to try and do comedy in the comedy scene in Los Angeles. And then so you just do open mics. And Theo Von, that was like 2017, 18, he was kind of popping off.
Yeah.
But he would still be doing book shows in Los Angeles. So I just saw him around.
That's
And I would
awesome.
see him do amazing. I'd see him bomb. And it was really inspiring when you see someone who's good at comedy bomb because you're like, oh, everybody goes down. You know what I mean? It's not just me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Second.
And is that where you started? Was
Yeah,
in
kind
LA?
of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you would have been bombing a lot then.
At the beginning, there were some bombs.
At the
At the very beginning,
there were a couple of bombs.
There were a couple of bombs,
Yeah.
yeah. But being an Aussie helped a lot. Because what happened, I was over there for 6 months. I came back to Melbourne and people were like, you're pretty good for just starting. Because I didn't tell them that I'd done 6 months of open mics. So like Dave O'Neill, Dave Thornton, Dave Hughes, all the Daves, big
Yeah,
Daves in
all the
Australian comedy.
Daves.
There's a lot of Daves now that I think
Yeah.
about that. Not many Fergs,
That's-
eh?
it's a
Not
funny
many
name.
Louis.
No.
Louis C.K.
Louis C. Oh.
Well, it's
Yeah.
probably not mention that
Yeah,
on the
well,
running
we can.
podcast.
Look,
All right.
They were just allegations.
Louis said that about Louis, not me. But I get that. When you have someone who's the same name as you, you feel protective of them. You know,
yeah.
there's not many Fergs around.
And I really liked Louis C.K.'s comedy as well.
It's great.
It was
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
really
yeah.
quite
It's
sad,
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, again, yeah. So I was in Los Angeles and I was doing open mics. And I came back and then people thought I was better than I was. And so I opened for a few big comedians and I've just ridden that wave, you know? Like I'm friends with the Daves. I get Dave Hughes on the phone right now and put
Really?
him onto your ear. If I wanted to, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not going to do it.
No, I
If it was
wouldn't ask
9
you
to 5, I would. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it on Sunday run. If you get me on 9 to 5, I will
few more
with Gabe,
episodes to
with
go.
Aerobic Gabe
Yeah.
and you and the paddle pop line. I'll get Dave Hughes on the phone. I'll get Dave Hughes on the phone and we'll call him together. We'll speak to him.
That's good. So
About
who are
comedy.
you opening for at the moment?
At the moment,
Or who's the biggest you've ever opened for?
biggest four I've ever opened for. Probably the Daves are big. You know, the Daves are big. As we said, I had a friend who
Huge,
opened for Shane
yeah.
Gillis and I wanted to do that, but unfortunately the spot had already been taken, you know. But I feel like I've opened for everyone. I've opened for Keelan's dude, Lewis Spears. I've opened for Ruben Solo. Don't laugh at that. I've opened for Ruben Solo. You know, all these dudes were kind of popping off. The Australian comedy scene right now is like popping off.
I was going to say, what do you think about the Australian comedy scene?
It's an interesting thing where comedians now who are in our 20s blowing up online and the people who are in their 50s are scared. They're scared of us.
And they
you know.
hate that you're doing that.
They do hate people who post online. They've stopped hating it now, but there is a stigma.
Hugely.
You know, huge stigma.
I'd be so scared if I was 50.
Yes.
And
it's scary.
You can just create a TikTok, say something funny,
yes.
and get 1 million views.
More views than the gala.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. If you did the Melbourne Comedy Festival gala, you used to be able to sell out your whole run. But now, like, if you post a TikTok, you get 100,000 views. You're getting triple the audience of the Comedy Festival Gala.
Yeah.
So you can sell tickets so much better that way, you know? And like Luke Kidgel and Lewis Spears have kind of, they were the pioneers of that. Like they started doing online content. They got so much shit for it. It was unbelievable. Like people who were big comedians in Australia were on stage being like calling Luke Kidgel out and stuff. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? Like this is comedy. You know what I mean?
That's Australia
it's
as well, though,
It's not
isn't it?
Cursiverse 360. It's not rap. You know,
Right,
we should
that's
be
great-
friends.
yeah.
But I had no clout at the time, so they didn't listen to me. Now they do.
No.
But yeah, now we're all friends, which is good. There's no beefs in the comedy scene.
Are the oldies getting on board with the comedy thing? The
More and
TikTok?
more and more. But they still want to like be on 91.5 FM, you know, and talk to 4 people in the AM. So they're still getting onto it, but it's been slow. It's pretty wild. I have big comedians who ask me questions. We're saying Arj Barker asked me questions about TikTok. And I was like, this is the saddest conversation I've ever had.
Yeah.
Where someone who was my childhood hero is looking me in the eyes and saying, Fergus Neal, help me.
Yeah.
You know, help me.
And then they have to go through the whole thing of starting a podcast themselves.
It's horrific.
A whole new process.
Yeah, starting a new TikTok it's horrific.
And then cutting up the clips of the podcast, another process.
They can't do it.
Nah.
They literally said to me, how am I cutting this? I'm on iMovie. I'm like, hire an editor.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Arj Barker? You know what I mean? I'm like, why are you downloading iMovie? They don't get that you can, you know, delegate tasks to people and that you just have to concentrate on being funny. Like my editor now, he edits for Hamish and Andy Flex.
Really?
Yeah.
That is cool.
If you want him here, he could take Keelan's job as well.
They
We actually asked him to become the editor for this.
Really?
He said no.
He quoted way too high.
Yes, that's my man. That's my man.
Really? What are you playing?
He's my boy. Well, I was originally, I have a similar story where you know the Mason Cox show, Collingwood footy player.
Yeah.
I got fired from his show. So I was editing for his show.
Really?
Yes, but at the time I was getting money from other resources, you know, so I wasn't really invested in the job, I'll say that. I was turning up very late,
Okay.
you know, and Mason Cox and his producer were like, yo, we know you're doing comedy gigs all night, but the shift started 2 hours ago. All right? We need to break this news about Eddie Maguire or some shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, Darcy Moore, I don't know, something was going on and I just wasn't there for it. And so I got let go. So I kind of appreciate that editor and what he went through.
Yeah.
Because I was doing the exact same thing.
Did you ever think about delegating the task straight to Vietnam?
I honestly thought about that. I said to my editor, I said, yo, somehow I've stumbled into this role. I think we could become the face of Collingwood Footy Club as editors.
Take a clip.
Take a
send
clip.
It straight off.
And then I just couldn't be fucked.
the
I just did it on
Philippines.
iMovie.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is horrific. So I understand that editor sending in some terrible clips.
What's goals for you in regards to comedy?
I want to try and sell out a lot of these shows. They're selling well. If you're listening, Fergalicious, Trades Hall, 29th of March until the 23rd of April. They're selling well, which is good. So I just want to see how many shows I can sell out. You know, like Jack Post, who's the third guy in Hamish and Andy, and we've
Yep.
kind of become friends. He did a Comedy Fest show, so he's given me really good advice. He was in the same venue, Trades Hall. I just want to sell out some venues at Trades Hall. How cool would that be?
That would be awesome.
You know, just to have Peter Bowl look at my Instagram and be like, Ferg selling out
You
Trades
fucking
Hall.
did it. And
without
is
dope.
the fear of bombing ever looming?
I don't care about bombing anymore. You know, I've done so many gigs where you can't hurt me. You know what I mean? Like in real, when I'm on a date, right? You've been on dates, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Sure
I
one
struggle at
happened
them
once.
as
Do
well.
you?
I get nervous.
How do you get nervous? What hope is there for guys like me if you're getting nervous?
Mate, you speak incredibly.
Are you
I get there and start stuttering away.
You think they care if you're stuttering? Look at your biceps. You're fine. You've got 300,000 whatever followers. You're doing fine. I've got to go in there and charm them with wit. That's much harder.
And I bet you do that though.
Sometimes I
yeah.
do. Sometimes yes.
Yeah.
But I feel like the dating scene and the comedy scene is similar in a way. You know, like you're doing crowd work on a date, right?
Yeah.
It's big like that. Everyone has stories on dates that they go to. I had a friend, it was so funny. He went on one date and he did like a story that he always does. And then he saw another girl and then he came back for a second date with this girl and he forgot which girl it was and he did the exact same
did the
story.
same bit.
And she's like, you're bombing.
Yeah,
you're bombing
you're
with the
bombing
same
hard.
bit. And
Oh, nothing worse.
he needs to get a Google Calendar, that man.
He
You know what I
does,
mean? And
yeah.
a new story. Fuck
Well,
man.
you're hustling the comedy. You're
Yeah.
hustling the like podcasting is kind of comedy for you as well, isn't it?
Yes, I'm doing a podcast each week. Miss Universe Australia, former guest.
Oh.
Makes it worse.
Yeah.
That I betrayed her. But she was a former guest on the pod. So I'm doing a podcast each week.
Have you managed to stitch that up with like patch it up with her?
I think I'm out of the beauty pageant scene. This is what came on this because I think you're my ticket back in.
Oh, I'll get
You
you,
know
in
what I mean?
for sure.
Yeah, I
I
think-
don't know anyone in the beauty pageant scene, but we'll. there's-
My image of you is that you run during the day, you have a drone flying overhead at all times, and then you're on dates of influencers most nights. Is that wrong?
fucking bang on, actually. It's exactly what I do.
That's what I thought. That's what I imagine your days are like.
Yeah, mostly.
Mm.
That's pretty much it. So the podcast for you. How long you been going for?
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's how I sell tickets as well. You know, like I have big guests on there. They'll come. We'll chat.
You've had some great guests.
Love to
haven't
have you on, Louis. It'd be
I'd love
great.
to be on.
Love
Yeah,
to be on. Yeah. Maybe the three boys. That'd be good. We could work you boys
It'd
out.
be a lot of ego in one
Oh.
room. Yeah, I'd
I can
prefer
feel
to
it.
not
Who's got the biggest ego out of you
be
three?
involved. Ooh, it's a good question. Who do you reckon, Kayla? Out of Gab, Tom, and myself.
Gab's
Yeah,
got it. Yeah,
definitely Gab, yeah.
Gab's like a thumb. He's so strong.
Yeah,
Don't you
he's
reckon? Like he's
strong.
so.
He
I
is
mean that
very
not in
strong.
an insult. Like
No,
I mean,
no,
like
he's-
got
well,
the
he's a
strength. If
powerlifter.
you think about all your fingers,
Yeah.
your thumb's the
He would be the
strongest.
thumb.
and he's the thumb of the out of you guys.
He's very strong.
Yeah.
Very confident in himself as well.
Yes, Prime trains the middle finger. I
yeah.
feel like he has a bit of a like fu energy, which I respect.
He does.
You know, like he brings a lot of heat towards himself, but he kind of moves through it well.
Yeah.
And then you're like the index finger. You know what I mean? Like you're like pointing out the good shit.
Okay.
How good was that analogy?
That is it.
Did you see that?
Yeah, we'll be chopping that up.
That was off
and,
the cuff, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a clip. Clip that. So podcasting for you, have you
Yes.
found it helps you in your comedy, in your
Totally.
day-to-day life? I find podcasting absolutely incredible. I used to get to episodes fucking freaking out. But now, yeah, cracking, mate. Now I don't even write run sheets anymore, really.
You just riff.
Just riff.
Yeah. I think that like yesterday I did a podcast and it's brought a bit of heat because it was on Spanion and Ruben K having this fight about a joke. And then I just riffed about him. And then we have a mutual friend who's like, yo, Spanion's coming for you. That's what he wrote. He wrote that. He said, Spanion's coming for you, full stop.
A mutual friend.
A mutual friend who's a pretty
very
big
friendly.
comedian as well. And I said, what do you mean? And he just wasn't replying. And so now I'm worried that Spanion's going to staunch
Yeah.
me at any point in my life. Do you know Spanion?
I know, yeah.
He's terrifying.
I wouldn't go near
You don't want this
Spanion.
heat.
No.
You don't
so
want
what
this
did you
heat.
say?
I just said that like it's weird that there are rappers who have broken every commandment possible. You know what I mean? You know those Christians, I love Christians, but some Christians have to have broken every commandment to become Christian. You know what I mean? They're like, it took me punching a pensioner and doing meth before I could find God.
Yeah.
And you're like, a lot of us were good people before. You know what I mean? Like,
could have left
yes,
that.
you
But
could
yeah. okay.
pensioner just let him go to the keeper. You know what I mean? So I just said, I think him calling out Ruben K was just, it was a bit much. It was a bit much.
Because Ruben K said some stuff on the project.
Said on the project, makes the project interesting.
Yeah.
Did it not make the project more interesting?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was great. It was so funny. You know, my grandma, who's Christian, was like, Ruben K's funny. Like that's the thing with comedy and people getting angry at comedy. 99% of people are on, common, people. They don't get angry at the jokes, but there's 1% of people from every group who
course.
gets angry.
So you said to Spanion,
Just called him out directly.
called him out.
It was
you
a big
said, You're a
mistake.
dog.
I didn't call him a dog.
Yeah.
I said 1v1.
You said,
And he said-
you wanted, your thing is 1v1.
I
hey.
love a 1v1. Yeah,
It works out for you, though.
I'd love to do a rap battle with Spanion.
Yeah.
I would love to rap battle Spanion. I'm trying to get him for night one of my Comedy Fest show to
Is he
come
biting?
down. Apparently he's in the comedy. I mean, he's not in the Comedy Fest, but he'll be here during
True,
that
he
time.
kind of does comedy.
I mean, yeah, he does.
That's his thing.
Yeah. It's comedy-ish. You know what I mean? Him and Isaac Butterfield, it's comedy-ish. Like it's of that
Right,
ilk.
Isaac Butterfield. He
Yes.
called Gab and I out once.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, kind of.
He's not a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his go?
His go is that he never does comedy clubs, but he'll put on comedy for his own audiences. And then he'll get jokes that he's heard on the street. You know what I mean? Like jokes that some dude with a bowler's cap would have said at Flinders Street Station in the 50s.
Yeah.
And he just regurgitates that.
It's very 50s-esque, isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah.
And he's like, why are people getting angry at me? It's like he wanted the controversy. You know what I mean? He's talking about shit that's like, fuck, all right. It's not. I would never cancel another comedian because I think the comedy should be free.
Yeah.
I'm from my craftsmanship. I'm saying his jokes are terrible.
yeah.
You know what I mean? His jokes are
The
bad.
structure's poor.
What did he say about you and Gabe?
Nah, we made a video. I
I'm
made a
now
video.
protective of you and aerobic Gabe.
I know,
It's
thank
weird. I'm
you. We
protective
made a video
my
of us
boy.
tackling. He didn't actually call us, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like doing like tackle work and stuff. We both had our tops off, and he was
Yes.
just like talking. I don't know, he like wanked over it or something. Is what he said.
He
Like,
said he
no, it was something along. Oh, that was sexy, lads, or something like that.
in a
And
stitch.
In a stitch.
Is that the
he
most
stitched
terrifying
it.
notification to get on TikTok when you get a
That's it.
stitch?
That's a nervous
if
one.
I got a notification saying I've been stitched by Isaac Butterfield, I'm running.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It
if
is-
I get a
his
stitch,
big beard comes on,
oh,
and his Australian accent. Yeah.
imagine Spanion stitches me. Like I'm probably not going to do my shows.
I think I actually replied saying, "Come on the podcast." He said, "Yeah, I will."
nice.
Didn't
That'd
make
be a
it
great
happen.
episode.
Yeah, we only get good comedians on this podcast.
I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
Haven't you got Luke Kidgel coming on soon?
Hopefully, that'd be nice.
Oh,
We're
he'll
trying
do
to line it up.
He'll do
yeah.
anything, honestly. Seriously, the guy was like,
TikToks.
yes.
I'll just rip him about the guy who pioneered
Tell
TikTok
him
clips.
that he is the pioneer of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's the pioneer of
loser.
asking people what they do.
Oh, true. That's like
That's
a
what he
big
does.
part of
That's
his.
what Lukey does. Yeah, he asks what people do when they reply.
Do you ever do crowd work?
Yeah, but I don't do it like him. You know what I mean? He essentially outsources the comedy to the audience. Well, like he'll be like, "What do you do?" And then this guy who's like works for the Illuminati, you know, he's the truck driver for the Illuminati, tells that story, and then it goes viral. I'm like, mate, you're outsourcing this.
It is handy.
It's handy, yeah.
We notice that with our clips, we start actually looking for the things that'll go viral on the clip. So like, something will happen with Harry Styles. We're like, Harry Styles in the podcast.
Yes.
And it's like, just no respect for the podcast listeners, but sorry guys, this is like the ad break. We have to get the clip.
There's a way to go viral for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There is a way to go viral if you get the hook.
Do you reckon
know?
Luke is putting people in the audience saying, we'll get an Illuminati person in and just, I'm going to ask you at this point and just say this and then I'll roll with that.
Luke is doping for sure.
That's comedy
sense,
doping.
That he's like adding
He's Peter
performance
Bowl of
enhancers into
comedy.
the audience. Yeah. But he's such a good crowd work person. But, I think I'm better. So if you're going to choose between those two shows, come and see Fergalicious.
Yeah,
If you got a choice, obviously.
that's
I
a
mean, Luke's
given.
not doing the comedy festival because he's in the UK. So obviously
He's made it.
he's made it.
Yeah. Is going overseas something you'd like to do?
I mean, I love to go back to those American open mics, but also I just want to get like my friends, like Luke's doing overseas, Ruben Solo's going overseas. It's cool to build up an audience so big that you can do 200 seater at Soho Theatre. I want to do that. So that's where I'm like aiming to get to. And I think you probably have to hit, 150K, 1,000 followers. You can do that on TikTok, and I think then you can do those shows. But yeah, I'd love to go overseas. There's a bit of a stigma of Australian comedy where people get trapped here.
Yeah.
If you think about our big guys like Will Anderson, Dave Hughes, Tom Gleeson, they're great comedians, but they've never had a universal voice. It's never been accessible from, overseas. I got a friend who opens for Jim Jeffries, is a great comedian. And like Jim Jeffries is someone who has a universal voice. And he gets Australian comedians, like young guys and girls, to open for him and expose them to America. Really, like, admirable. And I think that we're getting to a point, our generation, where our comedy's becoming more universal for an international audience.
Do you think the actual material has to be a whole lot more kind of, like, obviously it has to be more universal, more international?
Yes.
Are you going to direct your material in that direction?
I think
like
that-
talking
yeah.
about Fitzroy in America is probably not going to.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
No. But that's the thing. Like, if you're at a gig and you're doing it in Fitzroy, you'll do some crowd work on Fitzroy, but I don't have any jokes that calls out Fitzroy verbatim. You know what I mean? Maybe during like the Fitzroy Garage Party for a week after, then at comedy gigs, you'd riff on that and then get a laugh. There's a dude who's wearing Birks in the front row and you'd be like, oh, this guy looks like he's from the Fitzroy Garage Party.
Yeah.
Just gets an easy, cheap laugh. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To get him on board.
Relaxes the crowd.
Relaxes the crowd. Like, this guy knows how to make a joke, which is good. Because some comedians get on, it's a zero laugh track. It's a zero laugh game. So, yeah, I feel like my comedy now, I'm trying to talk about bigger things. Lewis Spears does that really well, just talking about topics that are universal. You're not so much talking about the Eshe who you met at North Melbourne Station. That doesn't go as viral as you'd hope.
Yeah. Who's your favourite comedian ever?
My favourite comedian ever, at the moment, I do love Shane Gillis, so I know you love Shane Gillis as well.
I love him. Did you go and see him? When
I saw him. Yeah, I saw both shows. Yeah. I met him because my friend was opening for him. So, like, the dude is a great guy. He got cancelled from SNL and then has come out better.
How good's that?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Such a good comedian. And blew up, was doing open mics 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So he talks about his rise was really quick.
Yeah.
It was big. So, that's a cool thing as well. You see comedians and it's like, oh, they're doing open mics and now they're on whatever. Have you been paying attention? Or they're blowing up. That's a cool thing as well. You'd experience that with your blow up.
Yeah,
Just
it's wild.
consistency and doing gigs all the time and posting clips. You have one clip that goes viral and you get a bit of clout and then,
And the best is when you can keep coming back and doing it.
Yes.
Like if you've got stuff, whether for me it was running, where like you post something that's running based. Oh, people like this. Well, I can do an episode 1 through to episode 10.
Yeah.
And they're still going to be just as engaged, and it's still going to get the million views that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And that's where like you climb, isn't it?
Do you feel like you're diversified with content? Because I felt that where I'm like, all right, I want to have stand-up clips, I want to have podcast clips, I want to have guest clips, and I want them all to do well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like everything, a rising tide lifts all ships in terms of the content. But it can be a little bit pigeonholed into the running guy as well, which is okay.
Do you hate that?
No, not at all. Like that's fine.
You've
I just need to.
monetized a 4-minute 30-kilometer.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, a sub 20-minute 5K is my thing apparently, and I literally hit it like a month ago.
Yeah,
so,
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
It's huge.
Yeah. So what about podcasting? We've kind of touched on it a little bit. Bigger guests you've had. Obviously, you did Miss Universe.
Miss Universe was big. I interviewed the guy who co-wrote Pulp Fiction, so he won an Oscar.
Like, that's huge.
It's big, yeah. I was in America, And I had a friend, and I'm like, what does your dad do? He's a movie director. And this friend knew that I was funny because he'd come and see me at open mics. I'm like, oh, what is he directed? And he's like, oh, he won an Oscar. I'm like, what the fuck did he win an Oscar for? And it's like he co-wrote Pulp Fiction with Quentin Tarantino. They
Nice.
worked in the video archive store together. So I go to his house in Malibu, and he's got all this archive memorabilia from films. So I was touching this camera. I was just playing with this camera, and he's like, I wouldn't touch that, Ferg, if I were you. And I was like, oh, why not? And he's like, that's the Francis Ford Coppola camera that he used to film The Godfather. And I was like, holy shit.
Oh no.
That's the most famous camera in the world, from like the IMDb, whatever, best film.
Yeah,
And so we did a 2-hour podcast. I think that's the biggest podcast we've had, like, on YouTube. It's going to get, I think it's like 100,000 views or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
big.
wow.
So that's a big one. And it was interesting as well because he was someone who was on top of the world, driving home drunk, killed his best friend in his car, went to jail for manslaughter. In jail, he wrote a film through a phone while he was in jail, and then that film went on to get nominated for awards while he was in prison.
That's incredible.
Incredible
Would have
story.
been a fun interview.
It was
like
great.
Yeah.
Also, it's nice hanging around rich people. I know you're not meant to say that.
It is nice.
It's
though,
nice.
when they cover everything.
It's nice when they cover everything.
when they say we should go get
I'm not
lunch.
paying for this.
No, you don't have to pay
There's
for
no
that.
way I'm paying for that.
Well, I'm not.
It's great.
Yeah.
This is your drink.
Yeah, that's an alive. Ferg's,
I endorse this.
it's drinking an alive.
Is this trying to be like the Logan Paul Prime?
I mean, different kind of, like, it's healthy. It's not an electrolyte drink though.
Yeah.
It's like a soft drink that's healthy.
Yeah.
It's got the same kind of, it's got probiotics, so it's good for your tummy.
Nice.
And very low calorie.
Yeah.
So when you're doing your runs and stuff, great after a run.
True.
Yeah.
How do you even get into making drinks though? Like if I'm like, I'm Fergus Neal, I want to make a drink. Do I just go to a warehouse and say, let's start making it?
Yeah, we got approached. We don't actually make it ourselves. We're not in there sourcing the. But there's people who do that for
I
you.
know, there's people in Fitzroy who make kombucha professionally.
Yeah,
That's the wild thing.
What is scurvy and stuff? Exactly. But no,
Yes.
they approached us and we said we'd love to be involved, and it aligns to our brands perfectly. So
Yeah.
if anyone wants to pick some up, Coles Express, I believe, sell them.
That reminds me of someone who've had on the podcast who's like a big sporting person. I spoke to Andrew Bogut, NBA championship.
That's huge. Yeah.
Showed me his ring.
Oh, really?
He's gone a little bit alt-righty. You know what I mean? He's gone down. He's gone a little bit. The pandemic broke it through a few people.
Yeah.
He went a little bit alt-righty.
Did
He's had a
happen.
few protests for Miss
Didn't-
Universe.
Yeah.
And like they went that way a little bit. But I'm just like, I'm going to talk to an NBA champion, and now we're kind of friends. He let me drive in
Really?
his car. Because he's worth like $200 million.
Yeah.
I didn't really give a fuck what his politics are. He was going to let me drive in a Ferrari.
Oh, mate, you fucking love Donald Trump.
I go on a
if you need
Ferrari
to.
Barbie Yemeni if you,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I get in that
Yeah.
car. Like
Say whatever he wants.
it was cool. So that's probably the coolest guest I've had. Who's the coolest person you've spoken to while
You,
you've been? Thank you.
mate.
But if it
Yeah.
wasn't me,
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, we have plenty of opportunities, and there's things that you meet people along the way. Coolest person. I was chatting to Sam Wood the other day, who created the Woodshed. I find that pretty amazing. But other than that, it's all been very like kind of central Melbourne internal, just kind of hustling our own thing. So
Yes.
nothing that mental, to be honest.
What's
But
the wood?
the Woodshed?
Yeah, what's
he,
the
He like
Woodshed?
built up an app
Okay.
and sold it for like 50 million.
See, you're
recently.
in this world where I'm not, like the entrepreneur.
Hmm.
Like you guys you're entrepreneurs in a way. You're making
Yeah.
content, but you're entrepreneurs.
Trying to be. I think
Yes.
that's the whole thing. He's like, I prefer to be like a businessman first and then a content creator. Like, I don't actually want to be an influencer.
Yes.
Whether you get influenced by what I do, then that's up
their
to you.
fault.
Yeah, that's your fault.
Yeah.
But that's, I don't know, maybe you could do that for comedy.
I think in comedy,
An
you
app.
kind of are running a small business though.
Well, it is. It's same.
You're running your own
principles.
business.
You're selling. You are the
trying to
brand.
sell tickets. I mean, we're on different brand levels. Like, my manager had the Pancake Parlor reach out, and I said
Shit,
yes
yeah.
immediately.
Yeah,
You know what I
I'd
mean?
be
So
saying
I'm not
yes.
getting you've got that big sports sponsor. What's their name?
Whoop.
No, it's not Whoop, but that's big enough.
Yeah.
You've got Whoop, and I've got the Pancake Parlor. Like, I feel like we're in different algorithms.
Oh, Gymshark's what you're talking about. Yeah.
Gymshark.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, you could get Gymshark if you.
reckon I could
you
get
could get
Gymshark?
Gymshark in the comedy world.
If me and Peter
Who's
Bowl were
like
running
a
together,
comedy?
maybe.
What do comedy people wear? Like a.
Comedians have the worst style.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I feel like we've both dressed up pretty well today.
You look
You know
good.
what I mean? I feel like I could come to an event with you at the Fashion Lounge if you'd invite
Mm.
me. That'd be sick.
Yeah, Tom actually got the tickets. I was a guest. at
How
the
many
fashion-
times are we getting recognised?
It's
okay.
Here and there, Say
It's okay,
g'day-
you can
g'day
say
to
it.
a few people. Do you get recognised much?
Yeah, I get people come up. Yeah.
Does
at
it make
comedy
you feel
gigs.
good?
You know the weirdest thing? At Brisbane, I got recognised the most. For some reason, like I'm going to do a show in Brisbane at the end of the year. The Brisbane people love me. I don't know what it is. The yell
What
on
do
my
they
name
say
out.
when they recognise
Like,
you?
Ferg, what's up?
Yeah.
I've seen your comedy videos.
A few photos here and there.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as much photos.
Does that give you like a serotonin release?
Yeah. Yeah, I do like being recognized. It's fun.
Do you find you
You
get
know?
addicted to it?
You know what happens sometimes when I'm at a comedy gig, I had someone recognize me there in the audience, but they didn't love my content.
Oh,
So they're like, oh, you're the TikTok cunt.
yeah.
And I was like,
yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm not the TikTok cunt. I'm here now
No,
in
yeah,
person
yeah.
doing
I'm,
a show.
I'm in the person.
Please shut the fuck up.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, nah, you're the TikTok cunt.
Yeah.
And I've got that on film and I'm going to see if I release it. But I had to go hard at them.
should.
If someone calls you the
Did you
TikTok
burn
cunt,
them?
I burnt them pretty hard. They had a lot to burn. They were an unemployed graphic designer. There was a lot of fodder there to make fun of.
Aren't
you
they
know?
all unemployed? Until they're
Canva, unfortunately, has taken all their jobs.
Until they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, true.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Well, this is a running podcast. I need to talk
Yes.
to you about running.
Exciting.
So 1,500, that's your thing, but you've given that up. Now you've packed that in.
Louis,
Yeah.
the way you said that.
Yeah, unfortunately,
You've given that up.
You've let that one go. That's all right. What would your ancestors
I still
think?
go for runs.
Exactly.
I
That's
still
what
go
I'm
for
getting
runs.
to.
You know?
What kind of distances are you running?
So, like, I'll still do a Sunday long run.
Nice.
You know, I do that a lot, especially since, you know, being sober, it helps a lot. But I'll do like a 15K,
Yeah.
just 5-minute kilometers, Sunday long run.
How nice.
It's nice, yeah. But we used to do the classic, like Monday we'd meet at Geelong Botanic Gardens. We'd do fartlek. Tuesday we'd do track. We'd be at Geelong, Landy Field in Geelong. Wednesday back to the Botanic Gardens. We'd do like kind of same thing, do hills or something like that. Thursday back on the track. Friday you have a break, you go in the pool. Saturday you do the meet. Sunday you do the long run. So that used to be my week.
Wow.
I was like, I want to be a professional runner.
Yeah.
I had that in me. And my coach was like, I think you could be like a 10,000 meter runner. Like, that's what we're building up to. You know, this coach is a very famous coach in Australia.
Okay. Yeah.
10,000 on the track.
What
It's-
kind of pace are they doing?
It's crazy.
250, isn't it? Like,
It's crazy
3 minutes.
pace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 10,000 on the track is almost a mind game. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
How many laps is that? I don't even know.
I wouldn't
Got to
have
a point
clue.
where I just,
400. Yeah.
let's not work on the maths. I
Let's
feel like
not.
both of us,
Yeah.
we didn't.
Steiner did not give us
No,
the
we barely made it
facilities.
through further maths.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
But 10,000 meters on the track, it is more of a mental thing at that point.
Do you find running now helps your like comedy and stuff?
Totally, yeah. I mean, Louis
Bit of
C.K.
clarity.
said that where he's like, he's not drinking, he's not smoking.
Probably for the best.
Yes, make
Yes.
good decision, Louis. Make good decision. He was running, you know, doing weights. Where when you're fitter, you're better on stage for sure. Because you don't want to be up there being hungover and just looking like a piece of shit. You know, I feel like fitness helps you on stage so much. Especially like on the weekend, I did 3 50-minute sets over 3 consecutive nights. Feels like it shouldn't be exhausting, but you feel wrecked.
Oh, mate.
Afterwards,
yeah.
you feel wrecked.
Same as doing a podcast. Like,
Yes.
I feel wrecked after podcasts.
You have energy after it that you've given.
Yeah.
Because now, right, I'm focusing on you. And I'm
Exactly.
not looking at my phone. It's all Louis. You know what I mean? It's all you, Aerobic Gabe, and the paddle line. That's all that's in my mind right now. Honestly, I'm seeing them next to you. It's
Yeah,
weird. It's a
they
weird
are
thing.
sitting
They're
here
right
judging
there
you.
next to you. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And that's all that I'm thinking about. And when you're on stage, you don't think about anything. You're so in the moment. It's almost meditative.
Yeah,
When you're doing crowd work,
In
you're
the
not thinking
flow.
about anything.
that's good.
You don't think about your past. You don't think about your future. You're just
About the present.
in the present moment.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I find that so like sober, I've had, you know, in my young years really cracked into some like drinking every
bad.
weekend during the week as
Yeah.
well and stuff, which was great fun. But the issue is now that I don't drink as much anymore, maybe once every 3 weeks I'll have a drink, maybe once every 2 weeks every now and then. If I have 3 beers, I'm hungover, like properly.
Yes.
And because you become so dialed into your body, like having a little amount of alcohol just rocks you. So I
Yeah.
reckon that's what's coming for you, unfortunately, mate.
I think so. But
Which
I
is
might
a
just
good
stay
issue.
sober though.
Yeah, even better.
I may just stay sober.
How good's that?
You know, I've got so many family members who are alcoholics that I think that it'd be a good thing. You know, like if all your family members were addicted to Slurpees, you'd be a little bit apprehensive about having a slurp. You know what I mean? Like you'd be a little bit. There's a guy in my primary school was addicted to Smiggle pens who is now doing ketamine. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I feel like there's these little gateways that we forget about.
It is funny bumping into people from high
Yes.
school, often at festivals.
What do they think about
It's
your
always
success?
the ketamine. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, people I've kind of blocked it out to some
Really?
extent. Well, because think about what I started with was so easy to bash, like so easy to pull down. Sports guy
Yeah.
talking about himself online with his top off. Like, mate, that is fucking like a recipe for disaster. So I just kind of blocked it all out. And then now I've kind of come out of it and people come up and they say nice things, but yeah, nothing too crazy.
Do you feel hot?
No, mate, not at all.
You don't feel hot?
No.
I'm wondering, like walking around, do you feel like a hot dude?
No, there's plenty of insecurities, plenty.
Really? So when you're walking around and you're at the
You were
fashion
meant to be
event,
roasting me. Oh, mate, I felt so out of place at the fashion event. Because the fashion events, it's a lot of your like the Fitzroy
Yes.
beer garden
Which you
vibe.
guys, if you don't mind me saying, you guys don't have that.
No,
Like,
they terrifying.
You don't
those
have
people.
Fred again energy.
No,
You
the
know,
Fred
which
Again
they
crowd,
have.
The Fred Again crowd is the scariest crowd.
Yes, they're like the mentors because I
Oh.
feel like they're cool, but they don't really have a soul.
And they're also really happy to call you out
Yes,
and very vocal.
they're angry people.
Pissed off.
Yes,
Yeah.
something's happened to them.
Exactly.
Which is weird because I feel like, I don't have anything against people who went to private schools, but I
Mm.
feel like you come out with two different incarnations. There's the people who are just like, I'm a sexy motherfucker. I'll take my top off. I went to a private school. Then there's the ones who pretend they didn't go to a private school.
Those
and
are the ones that scare me.
They scare me
the
as well.
ones that pretend?
Yes.
Oh, mate.
They're on Brunswick Street from
that's-
9 to 5 sipping coffee. You're like,
Yeah.
we know how you fund this.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Exactly. So they're the scariest ones. Actually, coming out of school, that
Yeah.
was for me. So I'm very lucky to go to a private school.
Mm.
And coming out was kind of into the real world and then going to parties and talking to, someone who I was fine with at school. Now they've completely changed their whole vibe.
Yeah. They start
And
wearing linen.
they start wearing linen and corduroys.
Yes.
And I say something and make a mistake and they roast you for it.
Yeah, you get roasted by them.
They're the scary ones.
Yeah, but I feel like because you guys have this vibe where you're like hot dudes, and I feel like I'm doing all right. I'm like, I'm mid.
You're
I'm
good
middle.
looking.
I'm mid.
I would.
I'm mid. You
if
what?
I was inclined that way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. That's good to know.
I think handy being funny too.
Yes, it helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
But
yeah.
sometimes on dates I'm not funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can bomb on a date pretty hard.
What's been your worst bomb
On a date or like comedically?
on a date?
On a date, I've had ones where it's like you can just feel the. Okay, I had someone who left mid-date. I've had that happen.
Oh, fuck,
yeah,
that's
pretty
a bomb.
bad. Yeah.
What did you?
I think what happened is that we met some of my friends, and that was not a good reference. You know what I mean? It wasn't a good LinkedIn when they saw my comedian friends who were there. There was 10 comedians in a bar while I was on a date, and they were yelling at me across the bar some of the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Was pretty funny.
It was hilarious. I was getting roasted.
She didn't quite get it.
No, they said I looked like the mouse and flushed away. They were the same thing, 30 kg Ferg.
Yeah.
They were saying stuff
30
like that.
Ferg.
And she was like, this is weird, and she's like, I'm gonna bounce. And I was like,
Fair enough.
see you later.
How do you meet people?
Sometimes at comedy gigs.
Yeah.
Sometimes after you kill
Well,
on
you
stage.
think that would like set the precedence for them, wouldn't it?
That's the
about
worst.
what they're going to get into.
Yeah, well, that's the worst thing ever. If you kill on stage, because you're in a different mode, and people come up and like, oh, that's cool, and you maybe get a number, and then you go on a date, and they think they're going to date the person who's on stage, or on pod, whereas really in real life, we're all a bit lower versions of ourselves. You know what I mean? So then they meet you in real, at a bar, and they're like, no, this isn't, and then they think, I want Louis. You know what I mean? They start thinking about other TikTokers.
They're going through the algorithm.
Going through
He's
the algorithm,
so
they're
much
going-
better.
I want some pecs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want
Yeah.
some pecs. If I was a girl, I would like pecs.
Really?
I don't have pecs, but if I was a girl, I would appreciate
You could get
pecs.
pecs.
I could, but the amount of, do you reckon I could get pecs?
100%.
It's
mate.
possible for anyone.
I was genuinely your size before I started
Really?
lifting. Yeah.
You used to look like me.
Yeah, 100%.
So I guess you look like me. You either get funny or you get pecs.
I think that was my benefit though
Really?
early on is I had to be funny.
Yes. I
And
reckon
then
you can be. You're a funny
Became not
guy.
Funny.
Would you do comedy?
I love comedy.
Would you do stand up? If I took you to
I'd give it a go.
really?
I'd give it a go. Yeah.
I'd take you to a stand up gig where I can make sure everything is as good as it can
yeah.
be.
It has to be out of Melbourne though. I'm going to LA with you.
I was
'Cause I cannot do it
I
in
was
Melbourne.
thinking we could do an influencer style event.
Yeah.
Where we get you, we get Aerobic Gabe, the
Yeah.
Paddle Pop Line, we get the Green Vest guy,
Yeah.
we get Blake Pavey,
Yeah.
Luke Kidgel,
Okay.
Lewis Spears can come down,
Yep.
Keelan's not invited,
We
and
can
we get
get
everybody
Liam
down
Dowling,
there.
yeah.
Liam Dowling, yeah, stole one of my jokes, but that's all right.
That's all
we
right.
do that. We do that. We get everybody down, and
Yeah.
we get some. I'm not sure on the female side of the algorithm. I'm sure there's some influencers who on that side of the algorithm who are killing it.
Yep.
Maybe Abby Chatfield could come down.
Yeah, that'd be great.
She's massive in that space. We get all these. It'd be like an Aldi version of the Logies, and we have it at the garage.
TikTok Logies.
TikTok Logies.
I actually reckon we could get TikTok to sponsor
TikTok-
that.
It could happen.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah. I'll talk to the Chinese Communist Party and see what I
Yeah.
can work out.
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like we get them all into the
give 'em
garage
some
party. And we have the best TikTok logies of all time. We auction off the green vests. All right, I'll host the auction. And
Yeah.
we donate the proceeds to Beyond Blue.
To comedians who aren't who are
Yes.
bombing.
Well, also just to, I feel like when that happened, men's mental health was in the limelight. You know what I mean?
True.
Like protect men's mental health.
I like it.
We get the proceeds to Beyond Blue, and I've got really good
Okay.
mental health. I know you're not meant to say it. I know you're meant to be depressed. But I'll call Beyond Blue, just let them know I'm killing it. You know what I mean? That's what I do.
Just call them up.
Yeah, that's what I do. I call them up. Let them know everything's going swell.
That's like the Dave Chappelle joke of going around and giving all the homeless people chewing gum.
Yeah.
The place that he hated. That you're literally him. You're Dave Chappelle.
Exactly.
All right, let's finish on that.
Nice.
Ferg, thanks so much for coming. Mate, where can people get you, see you, be you?
Yeah, so follow me on Instagram, come over to TikTok, and then Fergalicious Trades Hall in Carlton, 29th of March until the 23rd of April. Tickets on the Melbourne International Comedy Festival website, and then all my shows are in that vicinity, you know, on Instagram and that kind of thing. Louis, I'd love to do the TikTok Logies, and I want to
We'll
go
do
for a
it.
run. Let's go for a run.
Yeah, we'll go
At
for a
some
run
point.
as well.
I appreciate it. It'd be
Yeah.
fun.
Thank you
And
so
come
much
to a
for coming
comedy
on,
gig.
mate. Yeah,
I'll
we'll
bring you to a comedy gig.
make that happen.
Be fun.
Appreciate
Awesome.
it,
Thanks,
brother.
Louis.
Thank you so
Lovely
much.
meeting you.
You too.
Great.